Yeah, the track's in good shape. They did a real good job paving it. It's real smooth. Um, I think the tires pretty decent so far. So good on that, and just ready to get racing. I think it's a good idea to shorten the race up, and maybe that'll make it a little more exciting. I don't know.
We'll open up for questions for Dale. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start right here in the middle with Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Jimmy Johnson was just in here talking about reference points. Some of the drivers have said that, the change in the track makes it more difficult because everything looks different. But Jimmy says he doesn't use the reference points, and others do. Do you? And can you talk about whether it's different for you visually?
Yeah, I don't use reference points. I just kind of go till I don't feel comfortable anymore. And, as I go to a new racetrack I've never been to before, I just kind of drive until I get to the edge of the grip and the car starts to become undrivable, and you just kind of stay at that limit. You just drive on the limit. Yeah, I never really used any kind of marks or anything like that.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jim over to the left.
Jim Noble, ESPN. Over here on your left, over the last month or so, you've run really well. The 5's run really well. 24 has been fast, but the 48's been spectacular. The way that Jimmy and Chad have been the last month, how much of their momentum kind of leaks over to the rest of the teams in the organization?
If it has a good impact. It has a positive impact on the company, and we're all running really well, so we're all kind of offering, bringing things to the table as far as, everybody's got speed, so you kind of want to look at everybody's progress and changes they made throughout the test. And typically if a guy's not fast, you won't spend as much time going over his notes as you would the guy who has the speed. So we're all sort of able to put something in the pot, so to speak, and feel like we're being an asset to the company.
Questions for Dale? Okay, we'll take one from Mike, then Scott, then we got one in the back with Brian.
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net. How do you guys plan to pass here? On a restart, going down the front straightaway and intimidate a guy into one, or bump him out of the way going over the tunnel turn, or push him out of the way going into three? How do you think about passing here? We know everybody's fast, and that's grip.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to bump people out of the way because we're going so fast. I think even the slightest bump would wreck a car. So if the cars were going a little bit slower, and the track was a little wider, you could probably, the groove was a little wider, you could move people around. But you're just going to have to, I think one of the ways you'll see the most passing is on a restart when somebody gets underneath somebody in 1 and 2, and the guy on the outside is able to race him through that corner, and they sort of get bottled up and slow off of turn 2. You're going to see a lot of guys taking advantage of people, making it 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide down, heading into the tunnel turn. You see a lot of that a bit. Anytime somebody sort of, a couple guys get caught up racing each other, if somebody has a slightest of runs on them, they're going to try to go 3 wide and force an issue into the next corner, because general passing, as we know, it's going to be real challenging until the surface sort of widens up and the track ages a little bit.
Okay, Scott, Brian, Viv.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times. Dale, you said you thought it was a good idea to shorten the race. How do you think that will play out strategy-wise? Is it going to be more of a sense of urgency with the 40 less laps to get things done a little quicker?
I don't think so. 400 miles is still a really, really long time. And this is a track that's very long and just lends itself to feeling like it takes forever to get around it. So the race itself is going to still feel like a full event to me. I mean, I don't think it's going to feel like a shortened event in no way, to me personally. And I think the race is actually probably going to play out the same way. We have a really good surface and a really, really good, strong, durable tire that doesn't slow down. You're not going to need once you can get inside the fuel window. You probably won't come back to pit road. So it's gonna, guys are gonna try to. We're gonna have what you guys would call a fuel mileage race, where guys will pit right on the bubble, or really push their luck and pit a lap early, hoping for a caution or something to get them inside the window. And so, the couple of guys at the end of the race will probably be coming to the checkered with questions about whether they can actually make it on fuel or not. But that's just because the tires are so good. You don't need to comfort tires, and you just got to get the thing full of fuel somewhere close to making the rest of the race, and that's probably what you'll see a lot of.
Go ahead with your question, Brian.
Dale, Brian Nelson with the Motor Racing Network right in the back. Historically, it seems that whatever's come out of the 4888 shop, or even when it was the 4824 shop, those were the two best teams at Hendrick Motorsports. And for whatever reason, it seems like the other shop has kind of lagged behind just a little bit, and we're seeing that play out again this year. Is there something different that happens in that building as opposed to the 5 and 24 shop? Is there something that you can point to that accounts for why what happens in your building is where all the magic is?
No, I don't mean to offend, but I feel like that they're both equally as strong, and I feel like that this year especially the other shops shown what they're capable of doing. Jeff's had some poor luck, really. He's had a fast car, had a chance to win at Charlotte with the speed he had last week at Dover. He had good speed there. He's had really fast cars, really, really fast. I think he had him covered at Dover if he hadn't had the trouble. Casey's been equally as quick. I think when it comes down to pure speed, that the 5 and the 24 have actually had more than the 488 group. Jimmy has a great team that has for years put together full events and full races and can get to the checker flag and win races. And we're doing pretty good on our end with the 88 team. We just need to get a couple wins to really kind of solidify what we're doing about our consistency and how well we're running to really put the icing on the cake. It'd be nice to get a couple wins, but I think everybody really is running the same, and their performance is really close. In years past, there was a difference in performance between the two shops, but that, Rick and whoever else had involvement in the decisions to move people around, bring in Casey, bring in Kenny Francis, and put Jeff with Alan and put me in the other shop. I mean, those changes seem to be working out, and that was just they really have done a good thing as far as putting the right people in the right places to succeed, and it seems to be making both shops equally as healthy.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Viv in the back.
Viv Bernstein, NASCAR.com. Does the repave make this race at all any bit more of a crapshoot, or should fans just expect that Hendrick's got the fastest cars right now and you guys are still the guys to beat?
Well, I think you could have looked at the testing yesterday and seen that there's a lot of guys with good speed, and the 29 team was quick. The 22's been quick over the last several weeks. The Gibbs guys look good. There was a lot of teams. Rouse cars look quick. I mean, there's some teams with some really good speed. I didn't think that Hendrick cars dominated the sheet yesterday or dominated the test up to this point. We were all really competitive, but there's a lot of players in there that could, a lot of competition in there that could be anybody's race.
Go ahead with your question, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. They're talking about, there's no doubt that the qualifying record is going to drop today. What do you anticipate that will be? And secondly, Denny Hamlin also mentioned the possibility of drafting on the front stretch going into one. With the way that you talked about, you don't want to get near somebody's bumper because you're probably going to launch them. You think that there might, just be using the air more than actual drafting?
I think you could push in a straight line without any problem, and that pretty much works everywhere. But just in the corners, I don't want anybody running the back of me in the tunnel trying to get by me. If they want to get by me that bad, I'll let them have it. But I just think if somebody gets in, we're going. I don't even know how fast we're going, but it feels like, through the middle of the corner, where our corner speeds in the middle of the corner are super quick, and you can't. You're on the edge of adhesion on the tire, and if somebody were to get into the car, I mean, it'd be hard to recover it. There is a draft, and we've always kind of used the draft a little bit here, but I think you'll definitely use it more somewhat. It won't look similar. It won't look really that similar to what we see at Daytona and Talladega, but more like you see at the front straightaway at Michigan over the years. So I think the qualifying, I don't know. I mean, it's possible you could possibly see somebody in the 49s. They'd have to get pretty cool and overcast to get to that speeds, but maybe they'll get there.